Hi, I'm Megan Price, and welcome to the NBA Carousel, a Sideline Sports Network production proudly sponsored by Score No Score app, available for download in Apple and Google Play Store. Also sponsored by Manscaped, and check out the Inscriber online magazine where you can get all your culture, technology, and sports news provided by Sideline Sports. But let's go ahead and jump into this week's show. We have Will Vogel covering the Charlotte Hornets. And if he's not available, then we have, there we go. Hi, Will.
Hi, Megan.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing really well. It's Victory Monday for me, so I'm in a Cowboy shirt.
I can tell that. I was telling my dad last night. He's like, "Come watch the Cowboys game with me." I'm like, "They're gonna blow them out." Guess what? They blew them out.
Okay, so let's talk about your Hornets. How have they been doing?
Well, we only had 2 games this past coming week, but we received some really hard news this afternoon about 2 of our players going into health and safety protocols.
Oh, no.
So, Miles Bridges and PJ Washington.
Okay, yeah, that is
But
tough.
Cody Martin's already in there still, but hopefully Bridges and Washington can come back soon. And Bridges is I know Oubre's stepped up and Ball has played well and Rozier has played well and Hayward's played well, but Bridges, man, that hurts.
Absolutely, for sure. He is, one of my co-hosts, Jahan says that that's probably the best player besides LaMelo on the team. So I know that that's a huge impact for you guys. But hopefully he's vaccinated and he will be able to come back in a timely manner and can be fully healthy quicker than somebody who isn't vaccinated.
I agree.
So talk to me about these games that you had this past week.
So we played the Jazz and we only lost by, I think, 10, which is a great performance against one of the best teams in the NBA, the Jazz. And Bridges and Ball both had double-doubles, which is awesome. And Terry Rozier had 20 points. So that's really nice playing against a good team like that and showing, hey, we're not a slouch team. We can fight with these bigger teams.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, the Utah Jazz, they are 23-9 and they're sitting in 3rd in the West. So definitely a tough team. And not a whole lot of people are talking about them this season for some reason. Everyone's talking about the Suns or the Warriors, but Utah is right up there with
Just
them.
like last year. Like last year.
They're only 3 games behind the Warriors or the Suns. So a tough team for sure. And then what other game did you play this past week?
We played the Nuggets and we actually won, which is a huge win for our team. I don't think we won by a lot. I don't remember by how much, but still against another good.
It was 115 to 107. So yeah, big win for you guys to slide that in. Nuggets are in 6th right now. And have been able to find their way through the injury bug that they've had this past season and even this season. So, and we haven't seen them with a whole lot of COVID issues, but, knock on wood, because it seems like COVID has been affecting everybody, not only in the NBA, but, just the whole sports world. So currently you guys are playing the Rockets and you're up by 12 points, and it's a home game for you guys. So looking pretty comfortable as you go into halftime right now.
Yes. I'm actually watching it currently.
Okay. Any thoughts on that game or how it's progressed?
I haven't looked at the stats really, but being up double digits at half is always good. And I knew, so we just hit a buzzer beater to beat the halftime buzzer. We're up 14.5 now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But
awesome.
So yeah, getting a double digit lead at halftime is always good. And I looked at our recent schedule. We're playing the Rockets tonight, the Pacers Wednesday, and then the Suns. I think we can win 2 out of these 3 games personally. I think Houston, I know they got Christian Wood, who's a really good big man, and they got good role players. They got what's his name? Why did I not look this up? My bad. That rookie, Jalen Green
Oh yes, Jalen
or
Green
Josh
is
Green,
he
one
is
of
really
the.
good. Yeah.
But I'm not scared of them. And then Indiana, I think we could beat them. And then Phoenix is the only really tough one.
Yeah, no, Phoenix is going to be a tough game. I think Indiana is going to be interesting because they are in the East, and so a lot of times that's not necessarily divisional type, but I mean same conference type of play. So, and they have had some interesting moves this season that haven't really come to fruition yet. We ended up with McDermott on the Spurs, and now they're looking to get rid of Turner also and Sabonis. And so, we're going to see a different look, I think, in Indiana come trade deadline time.
I agree 100%. If I'm Charlotte, if we can somehow get one of those guys, I would love Turner as a center, but I also really like the play of Sabonis. If we can
Same.
somehow get him.
I really want, personally, just as a Spurs fan, we've been needing center depth for a minute. And so I would love to see Miles Turner on our team. I think that he's a huge rim protector and just a big presence in the lane. So I would personally love to have him on San Antonio too.
I think a lot of teams, if I had to guess, would prefer have Sabonis over Turner because Sabonis is a few years younger and
True.
I think he's more consistent than Turner.
Correct. You know what? We don't have a whole lot of veteran leadership over in San Antonio, so Turner might be the right fit. But I'm not Popovich, so I can't make those decisions. Well, good luck on your games this week, Will, and let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you. And we will see you back next week, hopefully.
Sounds good. Thank you, Megan. You guys can find me here on Monday nights on the NBA Carousel. Find me on the Sip Off, hosted by Megan Price, Jahan Phillips, and Anthony Brown. And you can also find me on The Gauntlet.
Thanks, Will. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next guest. We have Jordan Long covering the Phoenix Suns. Hey, Jordan.
Hey, Megan.
How was your week going?
It was good. I mean, can't complain. Although, thanks to the Denver Broncos, you guys won the division with our loss. So, I guess you're welcome for that.
Yes, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Even though I was pretty confident in us being able to land the division this season, there were still just a couple of questions up in the air. So.
Well, it makes it a lot easier going into I knew you were going to be Washington, but going in there already wrapping up the division.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's delve into your Suns. What has your past week been like for Phoenix?
We went 2-1. We beat the Lakers. Oklahoma City fell to Golden State on Christmas.
Okay. And that just seems to be such a huge back and forth between you guys this season so far. We're almost to the halfway mark. We're a few games out on that. And just the back and forth between Golden State and Phoenix has been pretty constant. So what are your thoughts on that rivalry?
It is regular season play. They play them, in the same division. But the thing is this has become a rivalry. You look at both of us trying to be the number one seed. And if you look at the games, they're not blowouts. They're close games, especially on the Christmas day. There were 12 lead changes and 8 ties. I mean, it just feels like it's a game 7 when we play each other, or a big time playoff game. I know we're in the regular season, but that's what it feels like.
Kind of reminiscent to the Lakers and the Spurs regular season games. Like those were always huge games because we knew we were probably going to catch them in the Western Conference Finals, and we did a lot of times. So that back and forth, even though it was regular season play, there was a lot at stake. Going over the other games that you had this week, who else did you all play? You said OKC,
Oklahoma City, and we beat the Lakers. So those were our 2 wins. With the Lakers, we got pretty lucky. No Anthony Davis, but the fact of the matter is they still have LeBron James and Russell Westbrook, and they combined for 56 points. Really no surprise with those two, but we ended up beating them pretty, I wouldn't say handily, but we won 108-90. But the fact of the matter is we didn't let Russell Westbrook or LeBron James take over that game.
In which LeBron James has been playing really well for the past 3 weeks or so. And it just seems like his supporting cast is either injured or just out of sync with the team. Do you feel like the Lakers are much of a threat to any seating position that your team has going on right now?
Not for us, especially at the second seed. I mean, it all depends on if they can go into that, especially if we get first place and they're in the play-in round and they end up winning that, they could be a threat. But the fact of the matter is they're hurt with Anthony Davis right now. They aren't healthy. Once they get Anthony Davis back here in the next few weeks, they are going to be a dangerous team. But you can never count the Lakers out because of LeBron James and Russell Westbrook plus Anthony Davis. I mean, and Carmelo Anthony off the bench. They're just a superstar team. They just need a gel.
Right. Absolutely agree. Now, there were a couple of those older pickups that I didn't really think would mesh well. And then Westbrook, I just didn't think was going to mesh right with the Lakers. And unfortunately, I was right. I thought he looked great in Washington. Him and Bradley Beal together had finally, turned a corner last season. And then, he jumped at the chance to jump on the Lakers. And I know that he was most likely thinking about getting a championship. And I mean, that's the whole point of it, of being an athlete, is to win a ring. So completely understand that, but it doesn't look like it's working out. So tonight you guys play the Grizzlies. Wednesday, you double back, you play OKC again. Friday, you play the Celtics. And then Sunday, you play the Hornets. So busy week coming up. What are your thoughts on those games?
Well, Memphis, it all depends on Ja Morant. We know he's one of the better young players in the game. You got to stop him, and you stop the Memphis Grizzlies. Oklahoma City, we just saw them. We beat them. They're a good young team. So it's just really, if we can limit the turnovers, we should win that game. As for Boston, they're a veteran team, but they're just not gelling right now, and I don't know what's with them. But they do have great shooters in Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Dennis Schroeder, and Al Horford. Got to limit their ball movement. But then at Charlotte, that's going to be a tough game. I think that will be our toughest this week just because of what they have going on with LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, and Gordon Hayward. I know they're not as good as, say, the Lakers, but they're still a tough team to beat.
I think that at this moment that their chemistry is pretty good, but if they're going to be missing, like Will mentioned, if they're going to be missing Miles Bridges, that will be a huge impact on that game right there.
It will be for sure.
Definitely. All right. And I'm not too concerned about OKC for you guys. Like you said, they're a young team. They do have a couple of decent shooters on that team, and they have a rookie that's playing pretty well, but they just haven't seemed to been able to. Let me look at the standings real quick. Yeah, they're in 13th. I'm not too worried about you guys playing OKC.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, all right. Jordan, good luck on your games this week, and let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
You can find me here on the NBA Carousel doing Suns and or the Denver Nuggets. I'm also on the NFL Carousel on Thursday nights representing the Denver Broncos. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsScoop1, and you can read my blog that I write Mondays through Fridays at sports-scoop.com.
Thanks, Jordan. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep. We have Cole Mccain covering the Milwaukee Bucks and the Denver Nuggets this week. Hey, Cole. How are you doing this week? Oh, you had to bring in the belt. I love the prop all season long. All right,
Absolutely.
So your Milwaukee Bucks are doing pretty well right now. You guys moved into third, and you are 22-13 right now. Talk to me about what's going on with Milwaukee.
The pieces are back.
Awesome.
I mean, you could simply just sit here, save a lot of time, and say Giannis is back. That's the difference. They actually won a game with just Chris Middleton before Giannis returned, but Giannis is back as well. I mean, it's hard to beat this team when they're at full strength. The challenge, of course, is everyone's staying at full strength because everyone's seeing all the, the COVID cases.
Right, absolutely.
But when they're,
So this past week, you guys, you actually lost to, or no, that was last Saturday. You guys lost to Cleveland, but you won against the Rockets, and then this week you guys beat the Mavericks in a really close game, 95-102. What are your thoughts on that game?
So even the Rockets, the thing people have to understand is these are all NBA level teams. They're all in the NBA for a reason. They're young, so they're going to be up and down. They're going to have games where you look at them and you say they don't belong in the NBA. but they're also going to have games where they can get together, where they can play well, where they can gel enough to stay in these games because they have nothing to fear. They have no pressure. No one expects a lot out of the Rockets this year. So you go out there, you play basketball, you get better, and sometimes you just have a team that matches up well against you. And I think they're long, young, and athletic, and they can run. And that's one of the things that Milwaukee does well against a lot of teams is they run on them. And this is a team that can run with you as well. So, they have some things that they can do well against Milwaukee. And you saw that, but then you saw when they needed to, they made just enough plays to win the game.
Right. Now, you guys with the Mavericks, this other Texas team, what are your thoughts on them? You guys, no Luka that game, and looking like no Porzingis that game either.
One thing with Dallas is they have a team, right? Even without those guys, they have a lot of scoring. We've talked about on the carousel. Other people have. Me and you haven't actually talked about on the carousel, but they sometimes play better when they don't have Luka because the ball moves more. Everyone seems more involved in the game. You've got shooters that can get hot. You've got guys in like Jalen Brunson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Kleba. You've got a lot of guys on that team that they can make shots when they have the opportunity. And when that availability is there, they take it and they run with it. So that was one of those games where they took it and they did what they were supposed to do. Like I said, Milwaukee's the defending champs. If you walk into anybody's stadium and you don't get their best shot, then they didn't come to play basketball. And I think they're getting the best shot a lot. And, they're handling it a lot of the times. But there are times where you can tell, like, it's just not quite there. So it's a good mix of Milwaukee learning who they are, them having to, play against a lot of teams that are already pretty solid teams, but then also you're playing against a team that you want to give your best shot to all the time. And the Mavericks game was the game that Giannis did not play in. The Rockets game was when Chris Middleton came back. So you got Middleton back and you won against the Bucks and then the Mavs, and then Giannis came back to play against the Celtics, which was a really good game. If you were able to see it on Christmas Day, that was a really good game. It could have honestly went either way. Giannis made a monster game-saving block yet late in that game. He put up a big stat line, one of the better stat lines. I believe, if I remember, it was 34, 10, and 9. If I remember from when I was looking earlier.
36, 5, and 12.
Yeah.
Are we talking Giannis?
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking Giannis.
Yeah, I mean that's a normal stat for him. Now we did see Jason Tatum have some good scoring. Jaylen Brown had some good scoring. Jaylen Brown is probably going to miss a little bit of time, not a ton of time, because he's going to have dental surgery. Did you see that?
I saw that. That was crazy. And
Very
the crazy part about it was Jason Tatum that hit him.
Right, his own teammate, and collided. So, maybe that's what Marcus Smart was talking about.
Maybe.
You got to move the ball a little bit more, guys.
Yeah, maybe. But Boston, I think they're a good team, but I do agree with what Marcus Smart said. Something's just not right. Like when you watch them play, something's just not right. And thankfully it wasn't right on Christmas Day.
Well, it's a good, entertaining game, pretty close. This week coming up, you guys have a little bit of an easier schedule. You have a back-to-back with the Orlando Magic in Orlando. Then you play the Pelicans on Saturday. And that should be an interesting game because the last time you guys matched up with them, you had an overtime game. Now, you did come out victorious, but it was an overtime game. And then Monday, you guys will play Pistons. So almost a vacation week for you guys.
Yeah, this is when we talk about like good teams. This is when you go out and you win the 4 games you need to win. No respect to any of those teams, but Milwaukee's better than those teams.
Absolutely agree.
This is the time you have to go out and you have to win the games that you can win because you're going to play teams like the Nets. Chicago's still playing really well. Cleveland is a good team this year. It's still weird to say that, but Cleveland's a good team. So you have teams that you're going to have to play the Hornets as well that are good teams. So this is the time where you say these teams are not quite there yet. We need to beat those teams. And this is a week to go 4-0, try to make up these 2 games that you're behind the Nets and get back in first place. This is the time to try to make that move.
Absolutely. And so as far as the seeding wise, number one, let me look real quick. It's still the Nets, right? And then
Yep. The Bulls are 2. They're a game and a half
Bulls
back
are
of the
number
Nets, and we're half a game back of the Bulls, 2 games back of the Nets.
Oh yeah, so it's still extremely tight. And then Miami is only a half a game behind you guys as well.
Yep.
And then Cleveland is not that far behind either. So
They're
that
only
top 5.
they're only a half a game behind Miami. That's where you start to get the separation. The Sixers, Wizards, and Hornets, Celtics, and Hawks, 6 through 10, that's where you start to get a little bit of a separation. But that top 5, like you said, is pretty close. It's all within 3 games.
Thoughts on Cleveland? Because I know this is a team, we thought Washington, and they have, they've kind of cooled off some. They're still looking like they're going to be able to make the play-in tournament, or, if they step back up a little bit, they might be able to make the playoffs at the 6th seed. But Cleveland is still right there. And we kind of anticipated with those injuries that steam was going to fall off, and it hasn't.
It kind of tells you some of those guys that are hurt may have been messing up the chemistry to me, Sometimes when you remove guys and other guys get the opportunity, they show you that they may be better in that situation. It's like we talked about on the sip-off about the WNBA. You can have someone that's on the bench sometimes on one team, and they get a chance on another team, and they end up being a starter and a very good player, even the star sometimes. It's the right situation in the right time, and sometimes you have someone that may be more talented overall, but they may not be a better fit for the system. Then once they're removed and you get the guys in that can play the best together, you start to win games.
Absolutely. And speaking of the WNBA, I wonder if we will actually see Ariel Powers play somewhere next season. You guys cut her. She was y'all's first round pick from A&M. And she, like you said, just had some weird chemistry with the team, ended up not working out. But she's a strong player and scores quite a bit. So I wonder if we'll see her somewhere else.
I hope we do. I hope she gets an opportunity. Sometimes it just doesn't work where you're at. But she's, like you said, she's a good player, and I think she will get another opportunity. I think she'll make the most of it.
Absolutely. Well, let's slide over to the West and talk about the Denver Nuggets.
That definitely can't have that. Talking the Nuggets right now.
Well, okay, you guys are sitting at 500 right now. You're in 6th, and you're 16 and 16. So, it's at least you're still maintaining right now. You're not in the play-in tournament seed. You're pretty close. You're right there, but
right at 6.
You're not as bad off as some of these other teams. What are your thoughts on the Nuggets right now?
The biggest thing about them is just the continuation of you just got to push. Like, you don't have everybody yet, but you got to find a way because you need it. You have to be, you have to milk everything you can out of all the role players. And you just have to, push through. You have to rely on Jokic to do what he does. And, you just got to find a way to win games. Like the Clippers without Paul George, we only beat them by 3, but we still won, right?
Right.
And at this point, any win is a major win. We lost to the Hornets on Thursday. We lost to the Thunder, on Wednesday, but we did beat the Hawks on Friday. So it's kind of like you watch and you literally see a 500 team. That's what you see. We can go out, we can lose a couple, win 1, lose 2, win 2. So pretty much you're seeing like a 500 team. Aaron Gordon's still playing, pretty solid, but everything goes through the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic. He has to have quality games for us to have a chance right now. Really, really hoping that, Jamal Murray gets back by the All-Star break or maybe after that. No confirmation time frame yet, but that would be a big boost to the team because right now you have a lot of people, Will Barton, obviously Jokic, Monte Morris, sometimes you get Austin Rivers, has a good game. Compazzo, hard defense, makes a couple of big plays.
I like
Highland, up and down. So you just have a lot of pieces, Jeff Green, Jermichael Green, both. So you have a lot of pieces that can give you points in spurts and, some games. But without that second guy that's just every game giving you, big points,
he's just
it can
so
get
good.
tricky.
In Jamal Murray, he's just so good. And there were nights when, it was Joker's night to be off and it was okay because you had Murray. And and correct me if I'm wrong, like they only played 9 games together, the big three, Gordon, Murray, and Joker. And I don't think y'all lost a game.
We didn't.
Yeah, so when that trade happened last season, you guys were so scary. I was like, man, this team's going to win the championship. And I don't know if that's going to come to fruition this year, just because Jamal's coming off of an injury. We don't know exactly how he's going to be, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be fine. What he's known for is that incredible shooting that he does, and you're not going to lose that. You might lose a step on defense or some speed, but you're not going to lose your shot. So I think he's still going to come in and be pretty close to what we saw before that. So he's going to have to find his rhythm with the team again. And excited to see him again. So coming up this – go ahead.
Before you say that real quick, Aaron Gordon has a hamstring injury. So he's actually been out the last couple of games as well. So now they're doing it without Aaron Gordon either, which, again, makes big sense why it's like, win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. Right. But hopefully it's something that, with rest, he can get back in a couple of games, because definitely need, his scoring punch, because like you said, without him as well, Jokic has to be on every night. And that's kind of, that's stressful. Like if you have to be that guy every night and then you want him to play the defense, he has to rebound, he has to do a lot for the team. And then, of course, put in about 20, 25 points every night as well. So that can be a little bit much, from time to time. So it'd be good to get Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon back. Obviously, in a perfect situation, we'd also be getting Michael Porter Jr. and PJ Dozier back, but we won't have to see either one of those guys this year again. So we are down some pieces, but hey, that's part of basketball. PJ Dozier, the ACL, and then Michael Porter with the back. So they're both going to be done for the season. We won't be getting them back, but hey, that's what we draft other guys for, and that's what the other guys are there for. You got to pick it up. Jamal Murray will definitely make a difference. Aaron Gordon getting back should add another 15 to 20 points every game, and then Jamal Murray should be able to add a 15 to 20. So we can get that. They may redistribute the points some. I don't think you're going to get those guys back. All of a sudden, we're going to be scoring 140 points. We may score, 115, 120. Versus 100, 105 right now on the average, but you're still going to get the same kind of play because it's the same team. You're just going to have it shift a little bit, and you'll add a little bit of points to it. But the defense and the clutch, that's where we're kind of missing those guys right now.
Absolutely. And, Aaron Gordon's such a big defensive presence, and so that's something that you guys are going to be missing. So coming up this week, speaking of defense, y'all play the Warriors back to back. You got them tomorrow, and then you have them Thursday also. First, you play at Golden State, and then Thursday is a home game for you guys. Thoughts on that upcoming series?
That's tough.
Like if we can catch one of them, that'd be great.
Yeah, if we can slide one of those two, that would be amazing.
Right.
I don't have any unrealistic expectations of beating the Warriors twice, but maybe we can slide one of those wins out. Then after that, we do get the Rockets. That's a game that we should be able to, handle pretty solidly. Though, don't ever sleep on the Rockets because they beat some good teams. And then we get the Mavericks on Monday, so that's a winnable game. But yeah.
Warriors
those two
only
against
have 6.
The Warriors.
Warriors only have 6 losses this season so far. So it's nice whenever you can hand them one. I know Spurs, we're not the greatest team, but we did hand them one of those losses, and that felt pretty good. So
we can just hand them one. Maybe one game they're resting players, or
they still in single-digit losses. So if you're one of those few losses right there, that makes you feel good about your team. Well, good luck on your games this week for both of your teams, and let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Well, definitely follow me on Twitter, Cool Mccain, same on Facebook. Of course, Friday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all interactive sports talk, playcallersportstalk.com. You're going to catch me on several different places. I like to pop up every once in a while, just say hello. Happy cousin, you see, just kind of hop in the conversation. And you can also follow Play Callers on Instagram, Play Callers Sports Talk.
See, and I need that hat to match with this shirt.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks. Cool. We'll see you next week.
All right.
All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and slide over to our next representative. We have Steve Shawanda covering the Golden State Warriors. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Megan. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Oh, just super. Nothing like, the Eagle Boy cool and you're my cowboy girl, just back to back to just really, punish my entire fall and winter season of football. Yeah, it's just outstanding. I really appreciate it. But we can talk about
tough in
basketball.
New York right now.
Yeah, we can talk about the Warriors because that's a lot more fun to.
Well, at least y'all aren't flying your benches in, to get beat by 56 points. So.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
At least
shout
y'all
out
knew.
to Cooper Rush. Shout out to Cooper Rush. 2 for 3 for 70 yards and a touchdown.
He got a touchdown too.
Fire up chips. That's right. Quarterback controversy. No. No, they didn't clinch, so he might play the next 2 weeks. So.
No, very, very true. And definitely that last game, I think we're going to see Cooper probably play the entire game. So, going to Golden State, though, you guys are in first right now. You're 27-6. There's just you guys are so good. What else? What can we say right now? Has COVID affected you guys very much?
Well, they had Wiggins, Poole, Damian Lee, that were all and then because Iguodala missed Christmas Day too, but that was for a little bit of knee injury, not COVID related. So they've had a little bit. Actually, Draymond Green is in protocol now. So it's affected us a little bit, unlike what certain people that play for the Lakers said the other day. It's affected the Warriors too. So no, not only was it him complaining and whining, it just wasn't true. But that's a brick for you. Anyway, it really was. Christmas Day was the best regular season win so far, because really what you think of it, obviously Clay hasn't come back yet. Wiseman hasn't played yet this year, but really the Warriors were missing 6 of their best 8 players, and they just beat who had the best record in the league, Phoenix. Now obviously Golden State does by half a game. But to beat them in Phoenix, outscore them 32-23 in the fourth quarter. Obviously Steph was Steph. Had a great game like he normally does. Kevon Looney had 10 rebounds. Draymond Green had 10 assists. So, and that's the thing is, Jonathan Kuminga showed he doesn't play a lot normally when Poole and Wiggins and those guys are there, but he shows that he was the 7th overall pick for a reason. He has some talent. So when he's able to showcase that a little bit, I mean, he's long, he's athletic, and so it just gives them someone else. But and even Quincy Witherspoon, I mean, they signed him to a 10-day, and he came in and gave him some good minutes. So and it actually frustrated Chris Paul a little bit, picking him up full court. I mean, they did a little box and one where they would just follow around Chris Paul and have the box. Have the 4 guys, playing the zone around them, and it seemed to work. Devin Booker didn't have a good shooting game, but obviously Phoenix is going to be fine. But that's the biggest thing with Golden State is it's the depth. I mean, even without Wiggins and Poole, who have been great all year, and Damian Lee, who's been good too. I mean, that's their 2nd, 3rd, and 4th highest scores, in average on the year, and you take that away, and they're still able to get that win. So that was a great win. The bench has been great, and it does help you for what's really important, because you're giving guys confidence and you're giving them minutes in January, December, January, and February. So when you need them in April and May, they have that confidence. So it's just going to make them better. Obviously long term, I'm still going to say January 9th is what I'm predicting Clay to come back against the Cavs at home. I think just that's a nice, I won't say easy game, but a home game, not against the best team in the world.
Not an easy game, because they surprised. I was just talking to Cool about this, about how Cleveland has maintained some of their steam, even though they've had some major injuries. So we saw Colin Sexton, he's done for the year. And, they've had a couple of other people that are out for a while. I don't want to say the entire season, but out for a while. And, I'm impressed. I'm impressed that they're still maintaining that top 5 right there in the East at that, because the East is better this season than the West currently, percentage-wise. So, but I do think it'll be a good game. I love Jarrett Allen, though. And I just think that, when he signed that contract with Cleveland, I was like, well, I mean, I guess he went for the money, and it turns
Yeah.
out it's actually
Right.
going a little bit better than that.
Yeah, Jared Allen's had a great year, absolutely outstanding year, and he's been really good for them. There's always those signings that you kind of look at, oddly, but those are the ones that are really, matter. Like for the Nets, it's Patty Mills. Like that's by far their best pickup was getting Patty Mills. So I know all about Patty Mills.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. He's a great player. To think that we won't pile on to the Lakers, but yeah, like Cool was talking about just a minute ago, we do have a home and home this week against Denver. Which is gonna be tough, especially with Draymond in protocols right now. I'm assuming he's gonna miss tomorrow's game, which is home, and then Thursday they're at Denver. So he's probably gonna miss at least one. It's always weird because it just depends on if it's a false positive or if it's just close contact, or so you'll find these people that will be in COVID protocol, and then like 2 days later they're playing, and you're like, wait, what? So it just depends on if it's a positive test or not, all that good stuff. And then they have at Utah on New Year's Eve on the 30 or New Year's Eve on 31st or New Year's Day, whatever.
I was going to
Saturday.
ask you what your thoughts on Utah was, actually, because just the 1, 2, 3 seeds are so close. And nobody's really talking about Utah this season. We'll see a spike in the highlights every now and then. We'll see Donovan Mitchell. We'll see Rudy Gobert. And, Rudy Gobert is the defending defensive player of the year from last season. And so, what are your thoughts on that? And how do you think your team matches up to them?
Well, obviously Donovan Mitchell is the best player in the league that people don't talk about on a regular basis, without question. And it's kind of, and I know it's Utah, so like as they say, it is what it is. It's just not going to get, they're not going to talk about Utah a lot on First Take and all the talking head shows, right? But they are very good. Obviously, they're much better than the team that they always do talk about, the Lakers. But so I think that's going to be a really tough game, especially at Utah. Especially coming off a home and home with Denver. This is a really, really important week for Golden State. And if they go 2-1 between 2 games in Denver and Utah, if they can go 2-1 in those 3, that will be really good. Then they got Miami after that, then Dallas. So but like talking about to your point about the Cavs, it's still the NBA. They're still professional basketball players. So there's no gimme, there's no for sure game. They're still professionals. You still got to play. You still have to play well. You still can't just like roll out the balls and play. And Utah is very good at home. So that's going to be a really tough game, which is, to your point, it makes home courts so important between Phoenix, Golden State, and Utah, because it's going to most likely, one of those 3 teams is going to be the 1 seed. And it's going to come down to, and it might come down to a game 7 at home. And, so that's why these games are starting to get important. I have a few friends that always joke around and tell me that the NBA season doesn't start till Christmas Day. It just, it's preseason. I was like, well, hey, there's important games, and, we don't get higher, too high or too low on a regular season game, but these are the games that decide if you're playing at home or on the road in the playoffs. So obviously it's important. Like I say, if they go 2-1, this week of those 3 games, I think that would be good. Obviously they're 27-6, so they can afford to lose one of those games. It's not the end of the world. Really, they could afford to lose all 3 of them, truthfully. But you obviously you don't want to
go on a losing streak. You don't want to go on.
You don't want to go on a losing streak, because 2 losses can become 4 or 5, and then all of a sudden now you got to try to get Wiseman and Clay back. So then you're going to have a little bit of, like at least a game or 2, everybody getting used to their new roles. Jordan Poole won't start anymore, all that stuff with Clay to get used to it. So, it's going to take some time. So you want to try to get all the wins you can right now, because I think it is going to take a week or so once Clay and Wiseman get back to get everybody, reacclimated into their new roles and everything. So these are the games that you need to get when you can. But I really feel, and I think both Steph and Steve Kerr has said it, since Steph has gotten the record, he's been playing better, because it's just, you knew it was going to happen at some point, but it was just getting it. I don't want to say getting it over with, because it's a great achievement, but
and
kind of saying getting it over with. Yeah, because now you don't have to think about it anymore. Yeah, he's had 33, 46, 30, and 30 his last 4 games, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you get that stuff out of the way, you just play.
Right. Absolutely agree. Well, congratulations on how well your team is doing, and good luck on your games this week. And let everyone know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Absolutely, every Monday on the award-winning NBA Carousel, hosted by the great Megan Price. All eyes
Our
on
award.
you, just the letter U. All eyes on you, hoops on Twitter. You can catch me, Flagrant Friends podcast for NFL, and very soon we'll get back our basketball Flagrant Friends, which you can find first on the gridiron for football, Flagrant Friends for basketball, which you can find wherever you get your podcasts. And yeah, I won't see you before then, so have a great New Year.
You too as well. Thank you so much, Steve. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next representative. We have Jay Nelson covering the Houston Rockets.
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
Hey, Jay, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. How's everything over there?
It's going well. It's going well. You know, well, I'm a Cowboys fan, so.
Yeah, you got a little something to celebrate last night. Congratulations to the Cowboys on beating on the hapless Virginia Tech Hokies. How dare you pick on them? You leave them in school where they belong.
That's funny. You know, I told a friend of mine, I was like, they were asking, well, did y'all win? I said, we went for the demoralization.
Yeah.
You know.
After they sent their benches to y'all stadium, I was
And
like,
for
wow.
what?
just to have a game in the first quarter, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, 28 points in the first quarter. Anyway, okay, so sliding over to the Rockets. How was y'all's week this past week?
Yeah, not too good. Still going through growing pains and whatnot, of course. But I mean, we're rocking with it. It's a slow and steady process. Game versus Milwaukee, and Cool already touched on it and whatnot.
Right.
Christian Wood had a double-double, of course. He had 20 and 11. Gordon had 12. Kmart Jr. had 12 off the bench. So, you know, I'm really loving how the bench is coming alive. However, when you let 4 out of the 5 starters go in double figures, Middleton having 23 points, not going to win very many games like that. you know, yeah. I know not really anybody's giving us much of a chance versus the Bucks, but it's games like this to kind of test you out. You know what I mean? How long can we hang with the big dogs so that one day when we do close that door, we can elevate to the next level? You see what I mean?
Right.
So not just and I know Houston is the team that everyone should beat right now, you know, so I can't say, oh, well, this is the team that we should beat or whatever, because like those teams are on equal plane with us right now. So I'm just rolling with the punches. But the Indiana game, though, Indiana won 118-106. Jalen Green came back. He's back. He had 20 points. Gordon had 15 points and 5 assists. Wood had 22 and 8. Augustine gave us 10 off the bench. However, when you let Turner go off for 32, let LeVert go off for 24, and Duarte for 18, ain't gonna win very many games like that. So
right. And I like Carius. I forget that he's over there in Indiana sometimes, but I do enjoy him. You know what? And we're going to see such a different team with Indiana come trade deadline. I said this earlier in the show, but we heard them already talking about wanting to move around Sabonis and Turner. And I think we've heard some talk about putting Carius in that mix too as well. So I think we're going to see a completely different team in Indiana. Now you guys are playing the Hornets tonight, and that's a tough game at the moment. It's 96-70. But you have the Lakers tomorrow, who are a team that I feel like has just really strange problems. Like it's not there's some games that they win and they look strong. LeBron's playing excellent ball. You can't deny that. But his pieces around him are either injured or they're not gelling. So do you think that this is a game where you guys could slide one in?
This might be the one against the Lakers. We may actually have a shot at sliding one in, considering that the last time we played them, we literally was a missed buzzer beater away from beating them.
That's right.
And that was when they were stronger than they are right now. Right. So I do think that, but we have to come out guns blazing. We do. We got to come out guns blazing. I've seen the Lakers blow some leads this year. I've seen them come back. You know, so they're like they're a little unpredictable. You know what I mean? I don't think that at this point we are built to erase a 20-point deficit. Like You know what I mean? Not like
Right,
how
yeah.
say a Golden State is, or you know what I'm saying, or the Bucks or
Right.
somebody like that. We have to come out blazing, and we got to keep it close and just close it out. We got to crash the boards. Wood's got to put in some work. EG, he's been stepping up. Just saying, for this particular game, he's got to take the reins. Whether he knows it or not, he is this team's captain, and that's who we are riding with, unless Wood takes over one day at the captain spot, or we get a veteran.
And then, so this week is a bit of a homestand for you guys. You have Miami at home also Friday, and then you have the Nuggets Saturday at home. Monday, y'all go to the Sixers. So for these three at home, I think that at least one of those is probably winnable. And I want to say the Lakers is probably the most winnable just because of the dysfunction that they have going on right now and the injuries that they have going on.
Right.
But the Nuggets are short a lot of people too.
Yes, they're short a lot, but as long as they still got that MVP under at center, they still got a chance. You know,
right.
There was a game. It was the last time we played Denver, and Jokic had a game-saving block. So it came down to that, and they were at full strength or nearly full strength. You know,
right.
We just have to. You know, we got to close ball games. We really do. We're sitting at 10 wins. Should be 14 or 15. You know, but we coulda, woulda, shoulda all day. We just got to go out there and actually execute a little bit harder than we are. In which I got faith. I know that they're going to get it together. It's a young team. They're gelling together and whatnot. Everyone's seeing what everyone's got and just going on from there. I've said it before, and I'll say it this episode. If the Rockets send somebody to the All-Star game, it's going to be Christian Wood.
Right.
It's going to be Christian Wood.
All-Star voting started today or yesterday, I think. Today or yesterday? Today. So everybody get out there, cast your votes for your favorite players, and make it an interesting All-Star game this season. Jay, go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and your own projects you have going on, and we will see you back next week.
All right. First of all, you can catch me on the NBA Carousel as the Houston Rockets representative, hosted by Megan Price, and produced by JB Ellis. Shout out to him. Also, you can find me on the Sip Off on Thursdays. I come on there every now and again to show my face, say what's up, sip a little, and talk some trash with Megan Price and Anthony Brown and Jahan Phillips, who's probably loving life right now because his Hornets are beating my Rockets. and also, you can catch me on the Sports Gauntlet podcast. That's on Saturdays at 5:45 Central Standard Time or 6 o'clock, whichever time we decided in the 15-minute gap. That's hosted by myself, Dom DeRubis, James Tatum, and Tyler Ingram. Also, and I told you about this, Megan, but the live commentary is coming soon on the Houston Heat. We just did one, myself, Tay Brown, the CEO of Visual Dramatics, and Lacey O'Neal. We got my shots on there. I got some really good photos. Also talking to Lacey about the expectations for this coming season for the Houston Heat and whatnot. And it's some really good material. It's the first of many. So anybody who wants to follow, it's Houston Heat. It's on Facebook and also on Instagram as well. Shout out Craig Davis. Shout out Marshall Hill, my Conventional Kings fam. See y'all next week. Thanks,
Jay. We'll see you next week. All right. Speaking of Dom DeRubis, we've got Detroit Dom in the building to talk to us about his Pistons.
Well, another winless week. Well, it's Groundhog Day again. I see you in your cowboy shirt.
Yeah. It's Victory Monday.
That was a paddling.
Yeah. Similar to what the Spurs gave you last night as well.
That was congratulations on beating our G League team.
You know what? I'm going to take that W. It's been pretty rough for us this season. We are in double digits of wins finally. So we're going to take that. We're going to count it, put it in the dub column.
We had one starter. One.
Yeah. Well,
that one was not Cade.
So,
Like we gave up 78 in the first half.
oh my gosh, that's so rough. Yeah, that's
The
pretty close to
Lakers
what the Cowboys did.
the Lakers struggled to score 78 points in a game against us in the 04 finals, but different story, different day.
Well, and it's so weird how this last two seasons, you guys haven't been that great, but you seem to have the Lakers figured out. Whether it's a close game or it's a win, you guys have been able to beat them, or you've been really, really close to beating them multiple times in a season. So, what do you think it is about the Lakers that you guys have figured out?
I think we know LeBron's games
Mm,
because he was in the Eastern Conference for so long. Like
right.
we've been playing Cleveland and or Miami for his whole career. So like those two games against them. Plus, I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously the Lakers are underachieving, but even in our really bad years, and this goes back like a decade, like whether we've been mediocre to bad, we typically play like the two best teams in each conference very close.
Interesting. Just real interesting. So when do you expect to see some of your guys back, some of your starters back?
Cade, I don't even know what it is. I don't think he's hurt. It's probably COVID.
Right.
It doesn't much matter. Our starters nor our team are very good. Like, and I was thinking about, because I'm like, man, like we had one starter that game, but like we're getting to see the whole rest of our bench. Like as bad as that slaughter was, finally saw some extended Luke Garza, 20 points
Okay.
in 20 points in 20 minutes.
I mean, that's efficient, super efficient right there. So, and I really like, there's a couple of pieces that you guys have that I really like. And I say this probably every episode that you're on. I really do like Sadiq Bey and Killian Hayes and Stewart too. So, and Cade. So there's got to be something that brings them together. Do you think we're going to see a coaching change?
I don't think so. People are calling for Casey's firing, but it's like, what do you want? What do you expect?
I
can't even say like I love that when you mentioned pieces, you did not say Jeremy Grant, because Jeremy Grant, not a piece.
I mean, at one point he was the best player on y'all's team. I want to say that your rookie's probably better than him now at this exact moment. He's stepped into his role. He's figured out how to work that offense from playing a completely different position than what he was used to. So got to love that versatility in that. And it's his rookie season, to be able to come in and grasp the difference from college to professional and be able to switch positions as well, is excellent. So if you could have anybody for your coaching decision, who would it be?
Like if I could pick my coach?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Bill Laimbeer, and it's not even close.
Okay, so listen to this. Bill Laimbeer may not be the coach of the Vegas Aces much longer.
Wait, what? I just found out he was even coaching them like a week or so ago. Why?
Yeah.
What? Are they struggling?
No, they're not struggling at all. They want Becky.
Oh.
And so I think Laimbeer will go up into the front office and more into an executive position. Maybe he's done with coaching. I'm not really sure.
Wait. Becky Hammond, like Spurs assistant?
Yeah. Okay. So Becky came out. I want to say last week, because the job opened up in New York and in Phoenix. And then yesterday, the Aces announced that they were interested in Becky. And I really didn't think that Becky was going to go back to the W, because it's just such a pay downgrade. She makes
not even that. Like you can't even call it a lateral move. Like I'm as certain as I can be without seeing the phantom contract in the air. She's going to be the first female head coach in the NBA. Like why would you leave San Antonio?
Well, she verbatim, she said, don't count it out. And it's not a step down. New York, she played majority of her career with New York. The Aces are the former Stars, where she finished her career at, were the San Antonio Stars. And Mark Davis might have enough money to make her happy to come to Las Vegas.
I can't imagine why she would jeopardize her chance in the NBA. Like,
that was my thought too. I really felt like that she enjoyed the NBA and that she wanted to continue on with that. And then she came out with that quote, and I was like, well, I guess she's not done with the W. Maybe.
Like, I don't follow the WNBA like you do, but like, tell me any other name as far as female coaching candidates that are anywhere that are even sniffing an NBA job, like a head coaching job. Is there any other female assistants in the league?
Well, Dawn Staley, but she's, head coach of South Carolina. And I don't know if I ever see her leaving that program either, because they're just so successful. They're so dominant. They produce so many WNBA players. They, not as many as UConn, but several. I mean, Asia Wilson, there's several that have come out of South Carolina, Alicia Gray. So I would love to see Becky in the W. Like, I would like to see her go back to New York. New York is a really strong young team, but I don't know. I just don't see her moving back to the W. I really don't. Like you said, we don't have a contract. I think it's an under the table type of deal agreement that she's probably going to take over for Popovich whenever he's ready to let it go. But he's also said recently that he's not done, and he doesn't know how long it's going to be.
Just going to coach until he dies.
I mean, it's Pop, maybe.
I mean, he'll die a lot sooner than her, and as long as she stays there, it'd be different if she was an assistant for, I was trying to think of like a terrible team that you wouldn't be in a big hurry to coach. And the team I thought of was the Timberwolves. That's where Bill Laimbeer rose to his highest ranks as far as coaching staff. He taught Kevin Love how to rebound. Right. Remember that year about 7-8 years ago when Kevin Love had 20 rebounds in like 10 of his first 12 games? Bill Laimbeer. Yeah.
I love Bill Laimbeer.
He got blackballed.
Why?
Can I cuss? He's an a-hole.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Like,
I mean, yeah. So
everywhere on earth, like at practice, at games. My dad played in a golf outing with him. He was like, he's a dick.
But I think the ladies over in Vegas love him. Like, he fit, like, Asia loves him, like they do well together. So, but I mean, maybe not if they're talking about bringing Becky in. So this week you guys play the Knicks on Wednesday, getting back to the Pistons. Then you play the Spurs again, but you'll be at home for that game Saturday. And then you play the Bucks on Monday. So Spurs probably the most winnable game out of that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what we get back for starters, but honestly, like, it's at this point, it's kind of like it's the round ball version of the Lions. Like, there's no big reward to winning any games. Like, what for? Like, much like the Lions, like even the games that we play well, and I mean, we're not blowing anyone out ever. We might have like one blowout loss. We have 5-6 wins. Probably should have been 12 or more, but we're young, so we're going to lose close games. We don't know how to hold leads. Right. We don't know how to close out games. It's just like the Lions. Lose a bunch of close games. That's all I can hope for. And figure out the rotation. See what you've got.
Right. Well,
all the COVID and injury stuff, like, we've emptied the bench and brought up G League guys, so at least we're going to see what we have.
True. Very true. Well, good luck on your games this week, and let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Yes. Here at 8 o'clock, NBA Carousel hosted by you. Thursday, Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel, 7 p.m.?
Yes.
Fridays, we're Lions Nation podcast, 7 p.m. and Saturdays, Sports Gauntlet. We're all on here enough. I don't even have to shout them out, but Sports Gauntlet.
Well, thank you so much, Dom. We'll see you again soon.
Yes.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our last team rep. We have Jacob Krishner covering the Sacramento Kings.
Forgive me for being dressed up. I work.
No problem. No problem. It looks very nice there.
The hair actually has some product this time, so I don't look like a match could break me and light me into a torch.
I, on the other hand, is so exhausted. I said, you know what? Messy bun, glasses. That's the most that's happening tonight.
Well, I want to bring up something real fast from Dom was talking about with Becky Hammond.
Uh-huh.
Go to this thing. Issue is what worries me about Becky Hammond going back to the WNBA is that she has 8 years experience coaching men.
Mm-hmm.
8 years. She's coached the summer league to a title. She's gotten the thing. She's done it when he's been ejected. How many dang times? She's done. Yeah. She has all of this, but yet they keep talking about okay, when they talk about Dawn Staley, she barely had anything in comparison. What worries me is that they're going to try, instead of giving it by the merit that she deserves, and she deserves to be the first, just try to pander to the people. They're going to try to give it to somebody that doesn't have anywhere near the experience. Then that one gets in trouble. I'd rather stay in the NBA and just be the first because she's got the experience. She's got all that. I don't want her to go to the Aces. You
don't want her to go to the – well, I mean, personally, no. I want her to stay in San Antonio. I want her to take over Pop's program whenever they're ready. And I think that the players, they know her well. She knows the system. She knows everybody. And San Antonio is not anything new for her. She finished her career there with the Stars, which are now the Aces. And then Mark Davis, who she has a working history with, though, ended up buying the Aces last season. So it's interesting, but I think you bring up a good point that she's been coaching men for several years now, coming up on a decade. And there is a difference. There's a difference in coaching men and coaching women. And I mean, it's just factual. So,
well, no, before we go to the thing, I have to say one more time. It's like when it comes to the first, for instance, we have the first women's GM in baseball. Mm-hmm. And right now, I mean, Lisa Ng, I believe her name is. Just say I know Ng, but she's into her first year. They came from a playoff team, and then let the guy go. Really, when he had just built something up, and they brought her, and then they're not in the playoffs again. And it's like if you give her a couple more years and that happens, she's gone, and then it's going to be hard to get a woman back, and if she fails, and it's like you got to get timing. You got to get timing to all this, especially when, I mean, in many, many years, 10, 20 years, we've got many women coaches. But you've always got to be that first. And it's like, we got to get to that point. We got to get to that where we got to, with something like this, you got to time it right.
And I want her to go to, not just timing, but I want her to go to the right team. Taking over a team like Detroit or Orlando, that's going to be tough. That's going to be, and you're setting yourself up for failure in that situation. It's already, I mean, just being honest, it is setting yourself up for failure, and you're not going to be successful. And people are going to wonder, is it because of your gender? Is it because it's not for lack of experience, because you've been in San Antonio for a decade coaching. So that's not, inexperience is not a reason that they could use. So, I hope that she's able to go someplace. If it's not San Antonio, I hope she's able to go to someplace that's established and she has a chance of winning and progressing her career.
Well, why not Sacramento? I mean, I
think Sacramento is. I think it's a decent team, and I told you since you first came on the show that I think Sacramento is real interesting. I don't think that they will be in Sacramento much longer. Give it a 5 years. I think we're going to see the Kings somewhere else. But you said where?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Going there.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that. And I wouldn't mind seeing her coaching over there. Now, we have actually seen, I saw a question posed that who was it that was actually playing, that you guys were actually playing better without Fox? And so do you think Fox should be on the trade block? I thought this
could be. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And to me, that was kind of blasphemous. Like, he's the one that's been carrying y'all the last 2 years.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to remember that Halliburton right now is like 4 or 5 straight.
That's who it was, Halliburton.
He-
Halliburton was playing so well without Fox.
Halliburton but here's the thing. Like I was talking about, they need playmakers. He is literally the scorer, the playmaker, the everything, and he's all of that. And it's like, and bringing up something what Gentry was talking about earlier. He was talking about, like he talked a couple of days ago. He was the most disappointed he's ever been in his whole NBA career. Sacramento's the worst they looked like, and it's like, he's 67 years old. I brought this up a couple of times. Doesn't he remember the 40-4 game in the first quarter back in '87 against the Lakers? I mean, he's 60. He's 35. I mean, this isn't Luke Walton, who was probably about 6 when that happened.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, these are just the things like that. Do they remember? When they say that, is it hyperbole or are you just in emotion at the moment? And those, I mean, you had the situation. I mean, Sacramento's been horrible for a very long time. Got to remember, after that one, Bill Russell took over. Bill Russell was a champion coach a couple different times for the Celtics. Goes into Sacramento, takes off, and almost it was just horrible. And it's like they've never had a consistency, other than those couple of years, 3 or 4 years with those great teams, the 2000s. It's been it. And bringing up Becky Hammond, this is one of the most progressive teams in the league outside of anything with Pop.
Right.
I mean, why not? I mean, you need a change. You need a kind of a kick in the butt a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I don't like the pick at all. I think it would be an interesting pick for her. Like I said, I don't think that they'll be in Sacramento much longer. So, it might be a different destination that might pull her into the situation. Like you said, plenty of teams are trying to go to Vegas right now. So that would be interesting.
Well, I bet you the Oakland A's eventually do. I bet you they do. I mean, even though they're talking about that stadium, I can bet you that goes away. You already have Las Vegas Golden Knights. You already have the Las Vegas Raiders. It's over and over and over, and it's like it's going to get bigger.
It is going to get bigger, and I want to shout out the Aces fans. Like, they love their team down there. So, they already have a devout basketball following there. So, why not a basketball team there?
Well, I'll say this one more time. Why not Las Vegas? Because like the Turner Broadcasting is going to make like $400 million from the DraftKings and all of the other MGM, all of that stuff, just from the ads alone. So it's like Las Vegas. I mean that the Ace is going to make some money from those ads. The Raiders are going to make them from the ads. It's like, why wouldn't you want to go to LA? I mean, Las Vegas. It's money.
Absolutely agree. So you guys play OKC tomorrow night, and then you have a back-to-back with the Mavericks. But those are all 3 home games, and then including your game on Sunday, it's also a home game against Miami. Thoughts on those games?
The biggest problem is it's like we brought up what Alvin Gentry said earlier. He felt so disappointed. They're not working. They're not doing anything. And he said this before they gave up 71 and 80 points and a half. That was after it, not before it. He did that after it. That was after those games, and he said he was disappointed.
Right.
They lost 7-102 just recently to Memphis. And see, if he's saying something like that, he must have just been happy enough that they did well in the second half, but this was nothing now. And really, they're outside of the top 10 again. And this is I'm going to say this. I don't know what they can do for the rest of the year right now. I still don't. I mean, if Halliburton's doing it all, they don't have enough people. And this is what they're talking about right now with the NBA. They're talking about the possible tournament in the middle of the season, the $1 million tournament or multi-million-dollar.
Right.
Here's the thing. It could be to give these type of teams that don't have a chance in the regular season a chance at championship. I mean, the Sacramento Kings won the Summer League.
Right.
They won the Summer League, and they got that. So we're saying something like this. It's like, what if you're giving chances like Summer League? What if you're giving chances for the Tournament League, and then you notice that they're always outside of the thing, and even if they make it to 10, they're going to probably lose in the first. What if that's giving the chance, kind of like a soccer? So until that point, until you put a Becky Hammond in there and put a kick in the butt to the franchise, until you get more playmakers, I'm going to say it, a Ben Simmons, I'm sorry, Ben Simmons can't shoot fine. He can play exceptional defense in a league that plays none.
Right.
And he can pass the ball in a
True.
league that
he can facilitate the ball. Now you guys, like you said, you guys moved to 12th. So San Antonio moved to 10th, Portland's at 11, and you guys are at 12th. And they're all really close game wise. Like San Antonio has 14 wins, Trailblazers have 13 wins, you guys have 13 wins. So it's still incredibly close as far as that goes.
With Doug Christie around, I don't know how long Gentry's going to go. And I'm not saying because of health. It's the fact that he's in an AAU league now. He really is. They don't facilitate the ball. I mean, you got to realize he's got the double-doubles Tyrese Halliburton does. De'Aaron Fox, it's not right. But no one's really consistent at doing anything, and they're not consistent at rebounding. They're not consistent if anybody truly passes outside the one guy. And
will we see Fox come back soon? Is he injured? Is it COVID? What's going on with him?
I'm trying to figure that out. I've been trying to look through all that. It feels like a mystery. But the biggest thing is that he's getting in a league now where he's, like I said, the AAU league. There's 2 passes, 1 pass, or someone just goes down and shoots a 3 or dunks. There's really no spread. There's no spread offenses. There's no anything. The defense is if the defenses are opportunistic, they're the high-end blocks or they're on momentum. They go by momentum. Mm-hmm. So if the momentum's going, they're going to try to steal the ball or they're going to try anything just to get another basket if they're hot. But if they're not, or if there's just a flow of the game, snooze. You know what I'm saying? If there's any of that, then there's no defense. They're just going to let people go get a rebound. A lot of these triple doubles are kind of now because a lot of the rebounds, there's no real fighting for them.
Now, you guys did end up beating us recently. It was last week or the 19th. And it was a pretty close game, 114 to 121. I think both of our teams are still just pretty incredibly young at the moment. Just not a ton.
The difference is Sacramento is more likely once they hit a 10 spot to lose in the first round. San Antonio, this is the thing. It's Popovich, no matter what. Mm-hmm. No matter what, it's Popovich. Even if he's got like 5 fifth graders on that floor, even if all that, and there's a 10th seed and stuff like that, all he's just going to do is slow it down.
Right.
He's going to play Princeton basketball, and there's going to be a bunch of pick and rolls, and whatever he can do to slow the game down. It's all he's capable of this, though. A lot of coaches in the leagues aren't, and this league isn't. And that's if he's in any kind of, I'm not saying he's winning a title at number 10. I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's dangerous until he's gone.
Right. Yeah, absolutely agree. And I think the team has progressed well enough. Since the bubble, we normally played really slow ball, like you talked about. Like the pace of the game was really slow, and I felt like with the 5-guard system that we have at this moment, and since the bubble, the speed of the game, the pace of the game has sped up, and I think that we actually have the right players kind of buying into that system. And I think Becky is a part of that system too, because there's times when I see Becky that she's real integral, not only in the play calling, but just missed calls as well. So, I just think that their chemistry is finally kind of coming together. Now, I know we're at the 10 seed. I don't expect us to do a whole lot, but we're kind of hit a little bit of a surge here. And I think that, shout out to DeJounte Murray. I think he's looking like most improved player, at least a nod at most improved player so far.
Well, Popovich, you brought up Popovich using Becky basically to be calling the plays. Mm-hmm. And bringing that right now. I mean, that's what Larry Bird did all the years the 3 years he was a coach. He used Rick Carlisle to call the offense and Dick Harter to call the defense. And he did that part, and he managed the ball game. See, and he managed personalities. That's basically what Pop's doing right now is he's managing personalities. And guess what? That's more a coach than doing X's and O's.
Absolutely agree.
That's really it is. And people think of it as coach as, okay, you got to do the X's and O's also. I mean, the guy's over 70 years old. I mean, why do you see, I always say this. My dad was a construction guy, road bridge excavation contractor. He was in his 60s when I was growing up watching him. He was slowing down. And I used to say in my head, he was in such good shape. Why isn't he doing all that work? You know, I mean, even for his age. And then you realize that's why he's in shape.
Right. Very true. Very true.
Why is Popovich still there coaching? Because he's in shape. He's delegating everything. That, right. I mean, that's the same with Gentry. He kind of delegates. When you're older, you can do those things, but you don't want to be wearing yourself out.
True. Very true. Well, all right. Good luck on your games this week, and let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Well, I'm here Monday nights as long as I can. It's like I'm here Monday nights. I'm on various network shows depending on the Tuesdays, depending on my time. I am in Inscriber Magazine. I am publishing Inscriber Magazine for some columns that I've got right there. I've got the Pundits Pundit on YouTube. My show Pundits Pundit on YouTube. And I'm also in my writings are also in Ricochet and in Substack. And so and then I show up with and then here and there like all the different type deals. So I'm constantly busy.
Awesome. Well, make sure you check him out on Sideline Sports and the Inscriber Magazine. Thank you so much, Jacob. We will see you next week if you're available. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up this week. Thank you so much for watching, and keep an eye on the WNBA. This past week, we saw the draft lottery picked, and free agency starts on the 15th. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.